And now that we're on mic, if this does not work, we will stop using the microphone.
All right, so we're starting class. We got structuring partnerships. And then this whole slide is now maybe garbage based on a conversation James and I are going to have after class tonight. This is the current schedule, which is Property Management Mastery. That class is basically teaching you about how to be a property manager, and it covers everything from how to let somebody move in, how to do a move-in checklist, how to turn over a property. However, when I went and looked at that slide deck this week, it turns out that the last time I taught that class, which was like a year and a half ago, which tells you how many classes we have, that class is actually the third in a series of like 5. So probably what's going to happen is we're going to rearrange the schedule a little bit, but it'll be still related. This might become tenant screening, which is also super important, and it's probably more important, in my opinion, than property management. Because if you don't put the right tenant in there, it doesn't matter how you manage them. Cash flow explosion, I think, is not going to explode. It's actually going to fizzle out and go somewhere else. And I don't know what's going to be here in place. Oh, I think I do. It's your second Nomad. Is that right?
Yes.
So I think James is going to teach a class called You're Buying Your Second Nomad. And he's developing some new classes, and I'm developing some new classes. And then I don't know what you're teaching. I'm gone here. James is not teaching this either.
Yeah, so the new schedule, I think, unless we just change it based on our discussion tonight, is going to be your second year as Nomad, which is all about doing your second year as a Nomad property. And then the next one after that is going to be the impact of property management expenses. So the impact of paying a property manager on a real estate portfolio. And I'm going to go over lots of different scenarios and how much an impact paying for property management has. And those are going to be those 2 classes.
Cool. And then we are keeping bookkeeping and accounting, I believe, because people have requested that class. James loves that class, apparently.
I do love that class.
His least favorite class. So with that, the schedule will be changing. You can find it on meetup.com. If you don't know the exact link, just go to ncraig.com and it will redirect you there. Tonight, introductions, we're going to go quick. James is going to start because he's got the mic. Introduce yourself and why you're here. Tonight's question is, what do you think is the hardest part of structuring a partnership? Because as you guys hopefully know, that is what we're doing tonight. So I will teach a little bit and kind of refresh from 2 weeks ago. For those of you that weren't here, it wasn't mandatory to be here tonight. And then you guys are doing a workshop on actually creating a partnership, which is one of my favorite classes because you guys get real world experience without the risk of losing money. And we get a bunch of excellent discussion at the end where you can kind of compare how did I do versus how did someone else do, and why was I willing to accept this versus someone else. And we have brand new game pieces in the now unsealed envelope. So it should be awesome. James, if you want to introduce yourself and then pass the mic, that'd be awesome.
And handouts for the first time.
And handouts.
Yeah, so it's all new. So
improved.
Yeah, this is actually a really awesome class. So I'm James Orr. I am here to support Brian. What do I think the hardest part of structuring a partnership is? I don't think it's finding the money. I don't think it's finding the loan necessarily. Probably in this market, it's finding a deal that's good enough quality to make it worthwhile to put in the effort to do it. So I think that's probably what's going on right now.
Hand it to whoever you want.
I'm Mary Mickelson, and I think the hardest part will probably be putting the deal together.
Nice.
My name's Eli Kalin, and the hardest thing about a partnership is probably communication and knowing what everybody's putting into it or getting out of it. And I am here for the education, the networking, and to just continuously build on basically writing a business plan around finding partnership. So this is why I'm here.
Perfect. Chad.
Chad McPherson, I'm getting newbie real estate investor, want to learn more, network, want to buy my first property this year. So hardest part about structuring a partnership, I think, structuring it so that at the end of the day, everybody thinks it's a fair deal. I don't want anybody to feel screwed, so
Yeah.
I'm hoping to learn something with that tonight.
That's a big part of tonight, because depending on which side of the fence you're on, it's very different. Like, oh, I should totally get all of this. No, you shouldn't when you look at it from the other side. Hello.
Hi, my name is Scott Brantley. I used to come quite often But I had an accident last year, and so I'm trying to remember things that I don't remember anymore. So I'm trying to get caught up again. The hardest part, I think, of a partnership is the negotiation to make sure that it's a win-win, and yet you don't leave anything on the table.
Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Caroline Arena. I'm here, of course, because I'm also a new investor and I'm learning a lot, and these classes have been very beneficial. The hardest part about structuring a partnership, I think, is also trust and ignorance of not knowing what I don't know.
I'm Ethan Giller. Moved here about a year and a half ago. I came to one of these meetings about a year ago and was really impressed, but kept on meaning to come back and haven't until now. I have quite a number of, that's the honest truth.
Took a year to impress him.
yeah.
Basically, had to sink in.
You did,
yeah.
you did a great job. So I have
Welcome
quite
back.
a number of rental properties in the Philadelphia market, but nothing in this market. So, I know that area really well, but just it's much different out here than what I'm used to. So I figured I'd come and kind of, meet the community again. For me, the hardest part of partnerships is convincing people they shouldn't have partnerships, that they're better off often on their own or just doing kind of a fixed, fixed fee structure, and then just having one person that has more of the variable return, one person that has more of the fixed return. So I'm, usually against partnerships. That being said, all the properties I have are in a partnership with one other guy. But these days, I try and avoid it. So that's my spiel.
All right, I'm Rob Madsen. I'm a complete novice for real estate investing, so just here to learn as much as possible. I've never formed a partnership, but I would think maybe finding people that are also interested in that same deal may be a bottleneck as well. So,
I'm Karen. I think the hard part of doing a partnership is, for me, it's been the deal is not the problem. It's finding someone who can do the loan and just come in with the money or help with the money, because I can find the deal pretty well. So I always thought I was never going to do a partnership. just the whole idea of, I don't even like to partner in games.
And then you came to this class.
I know. And then we did this class last time, and I came out of the class going, I will never do a partnership after this class. And then we've just hit the point in our investing to where we need partners. So that is why I'm here again. So here we go again.
I'm Tammy Orr. I am a realtor. I'm James's wife as well.
He's your
Yeah.
husband. That's how you should start.
Oh, is
saying
that how I should say that? Okay.
Yeah, James
Make
is
a note
my
for next
husband.
time. James is my husband. And I think the
own
hardest
him,
I
something
own
like that. Yeah.
I think the hardest part of structuring a partnership is probably just everyone agreeing on terms and who does what and how much that's worth and what we're going to do tonight. The fun stuff.
Yes.
I'm Denise Malal, and about the same. I'm what each partner's is worth.
My name's Josh, and everybody said a lot of good things, so I'm going to go with giving up control.
I'm Emily Gunderson, and I really don't know what the hardest part will be. I guess that's what tonight's for, find out. But I just think finding a really good group of people that you trust, and then that you come out of it at least still liking each other enough to go and try another one. I think that would be the real test.
George Vanderwall, and I don't know, I guess coming to terms in the beginning, but I was just watching the last class, part one, before I came here, and Brian was talking about when like one person's not doing as much this and that, and so I think the communication and making sure that it works over the long time might be a big part of the deal.
Yeah.
Hi, Daniel McPhee. I'm putting together a partnership right now, so I'm here to learn.
Awesome.
And expectations, I think, are one of the hardest parts going into the deal, especially. Like, Brian, you mentioned this at the beginning, like certain people wanting more than they possibly should have, and then managing those expectations and making sure that it's fair for everybody. I think somebody else mentioned that too.
Yeah.
I'm Bill Hoffman. I'm a commercial real estate appraiser. I guess I'm just kind of tired of feeling like I'm on the sidelines. You know,
Nice.
it's time to kind of get in and get my feet wet or whatever. And plus, it just hopefully will make me a better appraiser too, to see more about those kind of things because it's, I look through a contract and I know what I need to look at and stuff, and I'd rather know the whole thing. So as far as partnership, I'm kind of with Josh. I don't know, kind of relinquishing control. I mean, I'm kind of my own business, my own person, but I can see where you need to have that.
I'm Gretchen Norwalk. I haven't made any deals yet, but I've been working and learning for quite a while. And I think for me, I'm just afraid. The whole thing is so very new to me. I was in art forever, so this is all very new and a little scary. So a partner, I think, might help with my guts, I guess.
Hey, my name's Brian, and 8 to 5 I do insurance, so if you have any questions, love to chat with you after class on landlord, your personal lines, all that kind of stuff. Partnership-wise, probably the hardest part right now is finding a deal in Colorado in the market. I've done a couple of different partnerships before in flips and stuff, and communication's fun, and you learn a lot, and sharpen yourself every time and keep moving on. So.
My name is Royce Quintana. I'm a local buy and hold real estate investor. I put together and invested in several deals here in northern Colorado. I think the hardest part is making sure that you approach the deal, everyone approaches the deal, knowing that there's enough in it for everyone to come out knowing that it was a fair deal and strong games. Yeah, that's what I think is the hardest part.
Nice. Hand the mic. Oh, Allison, got to go all the way around. We'll leave you with the mic too. No, you have to introduce yourself too.
Hi everyone, I'm Allison Thompson. I am here to learn, and I think that the hardest part about structuring a partnership would be relinquishing trust and having a lot of communication skills tested.
Yeah. Do we miss anybody? I don't think we did. I don't think anybody snuck in. For those of you that don't know, I'm Brian Williams, long-term buy and hold investor in northern Colorado, from Fort Collins to Longmont over to Greeley and Evans and in between. So there's a little bit of class tonight that is kind of a recap from 2 weeks ago when I taught structuring partnerships, the non-workshop version. So I'm going to try and go quickly through this, but if you have questions, please ask, because if you don't understand your role when you get to the workshop portion, it makes it very difficult to have a good experience in class. So there are 3 common partnership roles, which we're going to talk about 7 slides about tonight. There's a loan partner, right? If you're going to go buy a property, you need someone that is actually going to be able to go to the bank in most cases and sign on a loan, right? They're not bringing their own money. They're just going and signing on the loan to get the money from the bank for usually 75 to 80% of the deal, right? Very simple. James thinks this is funny and doesn't have a microphone, so can't talk. Money partner brings all of the money that's needed, right? And so this could be 20%, 25% for down payment, but it's also going to be things like, hey, we had a tenant trash the property, so there's a capital call. We need more money to go fix that, right? That's typically what the money partner is going to be responsible for. The deal maker is that person who can find the deal, right? Whether it's on the MLS or not on the MLS, and they've gone and done their own marketing. But in our case, the way we think about the deal maker tonight is that they are the person who is bringing the deal, and they are set up to do all the work to kind of manage the property, get the LLC in place, deal with the attorney, deal with the CPA. They're kind of doing that set of workload as a part of the deal maker. Do you want to add something? And I'll repeat it.
No, I was going to comment that there's a ton of stuff on that slide. You can tell because the font's so small.
Oh, well, it's not. So this is literally a slide directly from 2 weeks ago, right? And so a few examples of this that may not apply to tonight, but just so you can kind of understand, right? You could have a deal, and so you bring the deal, and maybe you can sign on a loan yourself, right? So these don't have to be separate people. Tonight, they will actually be separate people. So in one case, you could bring a deal and sign on the loan and go find someone who has money to do the deal with you, right? You can sign on the loan, you've got the deal, but you don't have any money. That's that one. Or you bring the deal and you bring the money and you go find somebody who can sign on the loan, right? Lots of different ways to do this. Or you bring the deal and find a partner or partners, right? It doesn't have to be one. You can find multiple money partners who bring the down payment and who sign on the loan, right? Maybe someone out there is like, hey, I've got money, I can sign on the loan, and you're like, I have a deal, let's do it. And there's other examples. So tonight, the deal will involve one of each. There will be a deal maker, a loan partner, and a money partner for each one. And so really quickly, yeah, she has a question. The mic is running. The mic has arrived.
When we were doing this, what we found, we were having a hard time finding a bank that would do a deal where the loan partner did not also hold 50%.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to overcome, especially like at First Bank, where if there's a clause in the operating agreement that basically allows if the payment is not made, the loan partner is able to take control. And that is satisfactory to most banks.
We went through First Bank and they said they don't do that anymore.
Yeah, you got to push harder is really the answer, honestly. And James can attest to this. Like, I told him, hey, this is how it is. He went and talked to them, and they were like, that's not how it is. And I was like, go again, right? And
So we should have just gone again.
Yeah. And yeah, so there's other ways to do it as well where you can have multiple classes of ownership and you can not have the payout to be associated with those percentages so that the loan partner owns 50%, but it's not a voting class. There's all sorts of ways to get it done. So that shouldn't be a blocking issue, but you're not going to run into that tonight. You and I can have a longer detailed conversation about that after class if you want. So tonight, it's going to involve one deal maker, one loan partner, and one money partner. So I'm going to really quickly kind of burn through how to partner as a loan partner. So if you're a loan partner tonight, this slide is going to be for you. Do you want to assign roles now?
That's what I was just going to suggest.
Yeah, I figured.
I'm going to hold the mic so I don't make
This is, Tammy, you're going to have to leave that mic at home from now on.
You guys asked for the mic. It wasn't me. We did fine without it for many years.
So in the interest of having it so you can focus on the slide, we'll go ahead and assign roles now, which was not the original plan. But I want you guys just for a minute to think about if you currently in money or in life have money that you would like to invest as a partnership, maybe you should be a money partner tonight, right? That would make sense. If you currently have great credit, right, and you're able to sign on a loan but you don't have money, you might want to consider being a loan partner. If you are capable of bringing a deal or you're off finding deals and you want to be a deal maker and that's what you're doing in life, then you should try and be a deal maker. And James has his hand up, so I'm going to call on James.
So I'm going to contradict what Brian just said. I agree that you should be those roles, but if ever there was a time to see with the other person's eyes, if you are normally the loan partner or you're normally the money partner,
Yes.
sometimes it's better to be the other role now.
Yes.
So that you can understand that when you're that person, you want 80% of the deal too.
Yes. So for Karen, well, the last time you did this class, probably the last 2 times, what role were you?
I was always the deal maker.
Right. So tonight you can't be a deal maker.
But I really want to be.
But you can't be. So tonight you should be a loan partner or a money partner so that you can see the other side. So if you guys have been to this class before and you've done a role, pick a different role, right? If you haven't been to the class, I would say pick the one that is most like what you know, especially if you're newer to real estate. Pick the one where you are the most comfortable. So with that in mind, hello guys. If you are interested, so how many do we have in class? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've got 20. Tammy, you're playing 21. So we've got 7 times 3, so 21 people. So we need 7 people. Who would like to be a deal maker tonight? Hands in the air.
Deal maker is a lot of ways the hardest role in my opinion.
Yep. No one wants to do it. So this is the place, again, to reiterate, this is the class. There's no risk, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if all of you guys can come over here for 1 second and write deal maker on your name tag, big bold letters, deal. That would be awesome. For those of you that are still sitting down, how many of you would like to be a loan partner? I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep your hands up. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Oh, you're going to be a money partner. So the 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Go write loan partner. For those of you who I haven't already talked to, you're going to be money partners, because that's the only option left. Yeah, you bet. Just make it big and bold so that people can see it.
And don't write on your own shirt.
Yes.
With the Sharpie. Nice job, Tambone.
Nice. You should have put Tammy Deal. All right, so my money partners, the people that didn't already go over there, raise your hands just to make sure that we have 7 people's hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're a loan partner. No, you're a loan.
I'm sorry.
7, yes. So we got 7, 7, and 7. We are good to go. The other thing I'll just ask is that if you have your phones, put them on silent, because the class is going to take all your energy to focus. And here we go. Everybody have their money, deal, or loan on their name tag. Almost.
Is there anyone who does not have something on their name tag? Yeah. I'm not playing. It's not fair.
So James and I will not play tonight, barring other people randomly showing up in the next few minutes. So loan partners, all my loan partners are back sitting down. So this slide is for you. Pay really close attention because it matters. So the loan partner is the loan guarantor. You are signing on a loan. You are not bringing money. We've had people in previous classes think, oh, well, I'm bringing money. You're not. You're getting money from the bank. You're signing on a loan. You're signing some paper, and the bank is giving money to the deal. So if the loan isn't repaid, what happens? You are liable, right? You are personally signing on the loan, which means the loan doesn't get repaid, you're on the hook. They're coming for you. Your credit is at risk, right? When you sign on the loan, it's going to be a new entry in your credit report. Your credit score is probably going to drop a little bit from signing on the loan because it's a new line of credit, and then it will go back up. But if the loan payments aren't made or they're not made on time, what happens to your credit? That's right. Bad, right? So that gets reported and will lower your credit score. So your credit, which is valuable to us as real estate investors, because it allows us to get good terms, it allows us to get loans, is at risk. So typically you're going to borrow 70 to 80% of the money. So one thing for you to think about is, hey, am I bringing 80% of the funds required for the deal? Should I get 80% of the deal? Something to think about as a loan partner.
Red herring.
Huh?
I said red herring.
Someday, you know what we should do? We should do Partnership Workshop 3 where James, Brian, and Tammy negotiate a deal in front of everyone, and we should go through this.
That would be a really good deal.
It would.
We should totally do that.
Yeah.
But the other side note is you're going to hear, people on the recording are going to hear me commenting on things throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, we're going to have to take that mic away.
No
so
doubt.
The other thing about the loan partner is they bring the loan terms, right? So if your credit score as a loan partner is 600, your loan terms suck, right? You're going to have a higher interest rate. You're going to have maybe declines from lenders. If your credit score is 800 and you've got a really good balance sheet, lenders are much more interested in you. So that is another benefit you're bringing. Other partners in this instance are responsible for the deal, down payment, capital expenditures, reserves, capital calls, right? The loan signer is signing on the loan.
I want to make one more comment about loan partners, and that is your interest rate with a lot of the banks that will do loan partner type deals are going to be impacted by how many loans you have.
Yep.
So if you have 10 loans, your interest rate could be adversely affected by that too.
Yep, which will probably not come into play tonight.
Not tonight, but in general.
If my class goes 3 hours
I'm
tonight,
sorry.
it is going to be your fault.
Turning off the mic now.
So, for the loan partners and everyone else, what is it worth? How much of the deal is the loan partner actually worth? This is a really interesting question, both when you're the loan partner, because it's worth all the deal, and when you're not the loan partner, when you're like, you're just signing some paper, who cares, right? That's what you're going to feel. So we already talked about what you're risking and that you're personally liable. How might you structure this as the loan partner? And these are important for tonight, right? One way you might structure it is Eli says, hey, I can sign on the loan, and I'm like, hey, that's awesome. I'll give you $10,000 at closing, but that's all you get. She's going to sign some paper, $10K. Sound like a good deal? Maybe, right? Depends on how big the deal is. So one-time upfront fee. In a way, this looks like a lot like you're paying points to a lender, right? What's another way? a recurring yearly or monthly fee. Hey, I'm going to give you $2K a year instead of $10K up front, right? Or maybe it's some combination of that where it's like I'm going to give you $3K at closing and then $1K a year, right? Those are all possible solutions, right? What I personally like about the recurring thing is that he's invested. Every year he gets a check, right? And he's like, oh yeah, this partnership's great. I'm still getting money. Whereas if it's a one-time upfront fee, he's like, man, when are you paying that stupid loan off? Like, get it over with. I've already got my money. Let's move on. You could give him a percent of cash flow. So cash flow is rent minus all your expenses, maintenance, management, all that stuff, insurance, taxes. What's left over, that's cash flow. So you could give him some percent of cash flow. You could give him some percent of the equity. Where does equity come from? An equity cow, James says. That is not correct. Where does equity come from in deals? Yeah, but when it sells, what are the actual items that cause equity to be created? There's two that we care about tonight. Pay down and appreciation. Very good. So you could give him a portion of equity, which is how much the property is going to appreciate and how much you've paid the loan down. Or you could give him a percent of both. Or any combination of the above. And this is where stuff gets hairy because you could literally structure it where, hey, I'm going to give you $1,000 up front, $500 a year, 20% of cash flow, and 15% of equity. That's okay, right? So that is loan partner. Any questions from, especially the loan partners, but any questions on that slide? Ethan, where's our mic?
I can't just put lotion on.
All right, you tell me and I will, I'll repeat the question.
My question is for this exercise, but also in general in this market, do you typically see that banks only require recourse from the loan partner, not from the other members, even if their credit isn't worth that much typically?
Yep. So the question is essentially, do banks in this market typically require recourse from just the loan signer or other partners? And typically it is the LLC. Someone will sign for the LLC so that they have access to, if they need to come and foreclose on the house, they can because the LLC will own the house. And then it's just that guarantor. That's the only one that they care about. So that is the case. If you could have multiple people sign on the loan and have it be stronger, but in a single family home case where it's a $200,000, $300,000 loan, it's very easy to get away with one signer. So you had a question as well?
So when you're structuring the LLC with these three different people, you have a loan partner, money partner, and the deal partner. And let's say, how are you structuring that to where the percentage of the partner doesn't necessarily equal what they're getting out of it?
You don't, in most cases.
Okay.
So when you do that, there's all sorts of conditions you need to meet that are not any fun from the IRS. So there are other ways to structure it where you can have initial contributions be smaller, do member loans. Talk to me after class because we covered it 2 weeks ago and it doesn't really apply for figuring it out tonight. So it'll be a like 15-minute discussion. So yeah. Yep, it's on the podcast. We covered it. Any other questions on loans? Excellent. Money partners. So money partner, what do? They bring the cash, right? This actually comes from a cow. It is a cash cow. This is not the loan cow or whatever you said before. Typically, they're bringing 20 to 30% of the down payment, right? And they're probably bringing initial reserves, right? You don't want to be like, hey, here's a 20% down. We have zero in our bank account. That would be nuts. So in our particular deal, I think they're bringing $5K initially. And then, that covers if something goes wrong. It covers some initial stuff. And then you're probably going to have a reserve fund. If you have initial rent ready costs, which tonight there are none of. So you won't have to worry about that because we have a deal for you. Capital calls in the future. And this is one of the riskiest things for a money partner is if they sign up to that and it's like, hey, James is our money partner and he signed up. And guess what? We had a tenant go through and do $30,000 worth of damage with a sledgehammer. I need $30K from you to fix it. And James is like, I have $30K right now. Like, what does he do? That he's responsible for that. So there's some risk to that. If the property value goes down, money partners, listen up. If the property value goes down, you buy a $300,000 property, and the property value drops to $200,000, and you have a loan, who just lost money? Huh? Which partner? Did the bank lose any money? Maybe a little. But that down payment, that's the first money to go away, right? That is the risk of the money partner. That value of the property drops, the money partner's money goes into thin air. Exit strategy does matter. Other partners obviously responsible for signing on the loan and bringing the deal. So what's it worth for the money partner? How much of the deal should they get? It's their principal. So not getting a return on your principal sucks, but actually losing principal is really bad. Their money's at risk first if value drops like we just discussed, and they may have to put more money in. So what's the opportunity cost of having to hold that money they may have to invest in? I don't know. You'll have to decide. How might you structure it? Percent of cash flow, percent of equity, percent of both. A preferred return, which I would advise you to stay away from tonight to avoid complications. This is basically the partner sees X% before anyone else sees a profit, and then everyone else catches up. Please don't use the word guarantee in any partnership unless you have talked to your attorney and your CPA and you're doing what's called a guaranteed payment, which is also not involved tonight, so we're not discussing it. Or any combination of the above. Right? What's interesting is the money partner could also do a loan. So Eli says, I'm able to sign on the loan from the bank. James says, I have a deal. And I, as the money partner, say, you know what? I would rather loan you guys the money at some interest rate and some points. So I'll loan you whatever you need for your down payment at 8% and 3 points. James says, I'm taking all your money. So that is the other way that's for some reason not on that slide. Who knows why? Note to self. Yeah, note to self. And you'll see that tonight. So partnering, any questions for the money partners? All the money partners have lots of money. They're ready to spend it. Partner is a deal maker. So first of all, what is a deal maker doing, right? They're going and finding the deal. It might be on the MLS. It might be off the MLS. It may cost more if they've done off-market marketing. Tonight's deal is basically a listed property. But they go and they work with brokers, they identify deals, they go analyze them, they go out and visit the properties, they put it under contract, right? They do a lot of work that most people are like, oh, you found this deal, thanks for showing it to me, and they don't think about all the work that is behind it. In many cases, they will then go and try and find partners. It is not set in stone, although for some reason it usually happens in class, that the people with the deal seem to think that they are the leaders of the partnership. That doesn't have to be the case. In our example, the deal maker also handles property management. So you might want to think about how much do property managers get paid to manage properties. That might be one negotiating stance. This includes leasing, rent collection, handling maintenance issues, regular inspections, all that stuff. Financials, bills, bookkeeping, planning, tax returns, CPAs, attorneys, they're dealing with all that stuff. Entity creation and maintenance, and communicating with others involved in the deal. Strategic reviews and exit strategy analysis. So there's a lot of stuff going on. What could happen? The deal maker could also just simply be a bird dog or a wholesaler. Hey, I've got this deal, money partner and loan partner. Oh, you want this? Yeah, I'll sell it to you for X dollars. Right? There's lots of ways to think about how to partner. James.
So I just want to bring up, Brian said something really important. He kind of glossed over it, and that is if you are the person who has the deal at the beginning, you might not be in charge of the deal. And the best example to remember for this is, let's pretend for a minute you happen to stumble upon a deal, and you bring it to Brian, who you want to be a loan partner or money partner. Do you think you're going to run that deal? Probably not. Brian's probably going to run the deal. So in that case, you can see how you might have brought the deal, but someone who's going to take over and run the whole thing is probably not going to be you in that example.
Yeah. And so as we've discussed, other partners are responsible for all the money and the loan. Anybody have any questions on the three roles? Ask now or ask later. Now is better. So what's it worth to be the deal maker? How much should they get? How much effort and money did it take them to go find the deal? That's important. If they spent $10,000 on marketing for them to find the deal, which they did not tonight, right? So listed property that's brand new. How big of a role are they going to play to get it closed and after it closes, right? How much do they get paid for property management, financial tracking, dealing with the CPA, all that stuff? That takes time. And you know, the counter argument, what is it really worth if you don't bring the loan or the money? I mean, these deal makers, they're like not worth anything, right? Oh, no, that's not true, right? But that is the argument that deal makers might run into. Like, oh, you just have a deal. So what? Like, I've got the money. Without me, you can't do it. Well, without the deal, you can't spend your money. So these are the things you're likely to hear tonight. So how might you structure it? A single fixed payment. What does that sound like? A wholesale fee, right? Property management plus bookkeeping. What would these charges run in the real world? What is a typical property management fee? 10% of gross rents, not 10% of cash flow, 10% of gross rents. Keep that in mind, deal makers. What does bookkeeping cost? What does dealing with the CPA cost? All that stuff. Percent of cash flow, percent of equity, percent of both, or any combination of this above or something else, right? So you've got options. So our deal tonight, deal maker brings the deal. They may or may not stay in the deal depending on how they negotiate it, but they may also choose to stay in it and manage it. The loan partner, they're signing personally and they're liable if things go wrong. The money partner, they're bringing all the money for all the capital calls, the down payment, and anything else that's needed. Anyone have questions on this? If you do, ask now. James has a question.
So if you're going to pay the deal maker a fee to wholesale it to you, you need to determine which of the loan partner or the money partner who's going to do their role. So realize that there is an additional responsibility if you get rid of the deal maker.
Yep, you got to know who's doing the work. Anyone else have questions, comments, thoughts? Super important that these three roles are crystal clear in your mind. All right, James, do you want to hand these out, or James and Allison?
James and Tammy.
James and Tammy. So now it's your turn. We're going to cover the deal. You're getting a handout that both has the spreadsheet for the deal, which you may choose to use, and you may just use the other piece of paper. Can I have that one too? Just so I can speak directly to it. So the deal tonight is at the top of this single Word doc. It's a smaller page you're going to get. So focus up here still. The deal is a lease option of a brand new single family home. This is an actual real deal. It's from a year ago, but that is irrelevant. It's pretty much the same now. Tenant buyer, right? A lease option, we're going to have a tenant buyer. Everyone know what a lease option is? Anyone not know what a lease option is? Perfect. So a lease option, Eli says, hey, I'd really like to buy a house, but I am unable to currently get a loan. So I say, hey, that's fantastic. Do you have any money up front? He says, yeah, I have $9,000. I say, excellent. You give me the $9,000. We'll set a price for you to buy this house over the next 3 years. You get to work on your credit for 3 years. And whenever you want, you buy the house. When you buy the house, the $9,000 will count towards your down payment. You can't buy the house in 3 years, you're out of here, and I'm keeping your $9K. That's a lease option in its shortest version. So he's going to rent until he can get a loan, and then he's going to buy the house. He may not buy the house. He may be able to get a loan and not buy the house. He may decide, I'm leaving in the middle of it and not buy the house. He's not obligated to buy. I talked about this. The option fee is non-refundable. So that $9K, once it comes in, it is essentially yours, but if he buys the house, you have to credit to him at closing. This is all accounted for already in the spreadsheet. These are just the details of the deal so that you understand what we're looking at. You won't have to change any of this because it's already in the spreadsheet. Purchase price, when we are buying it, is $312,000 with $5K of seller concessions. This includes all the stuff we need. The option fee is $9,000, and this option fee is not negotiable tonight. In the past, we have had like, oh, you want to talk to the tenant buyer, come talk to me or James. It's $9K. We're not changing it. So don't be like, oh, if we could get $30K as an option fee from the guy. That is not an option tonight. It's $9K. Rent's $1,900 a month. It increases 2% every single year. Again, this is all in the spreadsheet that you have right here. And I'm going to walk through that really quick. Tenant buyer purchase price. This is important. This is also not negotiable for tonight. In year 1, $325K. Year 2, $335, and year 3, $345. So what happens is I say to Eli, hey, if you buy this in year 2, chances are high, this is like 3% appreciation. We're seeing 7 in a market. You're going to walk into some equity. This is a deal for you. And he's happy about that. And that is typically one of the advantages of doing a lease option. So those are the purchase prices, also in the spreadsheet tonight, and I'll show you exactly where it is. Here is what is in the spreadsheet: $312,000, $5K of seller concessions, $5K of closing costs. They balance out. Wave some hands. They aren't really there. $9,000 is a lease option fee. This is what it cost us to close, but we get $9K up front, so it really costs us less This is why lease options are also amazing.
Hey, Brian, mention that they have that in case people don't realize.
Yes, so this right here, this section is literally the top left corner for you. And then this section is the first 3 years right here. So you have all of this information in front of you, and I'm going to even simplify it beyond that. Cash flow, this is the next section down on that sheet. So kind of the middle to the bottom. This shows you monthly cash flow is about $200 in year 1. It's about $230 in year 2 and $260 in year 3. And then the long-term view, this shows here's what they can buy it for as the tenant buyer. This is on your second page. That's what they can buy it for. And really what you are looking at here is you've got cumulative cash flow, so almost 2,400, 5,140, and like 8,240 in the 3 years. That's cumulative. So if they held it till the end of year 3, and then Eli bought it from his lease option, you would have made $8,243 in cash flow as the LLC. So one of the things you're going to decide is, how are we going to allocate that money among the partners, right? The other side of that is there is forced depreciation and loan paydown that you're going to divide up. So what does that look like? Here it is. Year 1, 2,400. I'm rounding a little to make it easy for it, right? You don't have to go down to the dollar. Use these numbers. And these numbers are right here. So this sheet is your cheat sheet for tonight, and it should make it much easier than it has been in the past. Year 1, $2,400 in cash flow and $17,000. So if it's held for the full year and it sells and Eli buys it as the tenant buyer, you will make $2,400 in cash flow and $17,000 in forced depreciation and loan paydown. Does that make sense to everyone? Does it not make sense to anyone? Excellent. So year 2 and year 3 also on here, right? So one way to think about this tonight is, hey, if I'm the money partner, what do I really want? Do I want 50% of cash flow and 50% of equity? Or do I want 20% of this and 70% of this, right? There's all sorts of ways to negotiate that. But this is the profit that you are essentially looking at dividing up tonight. James.
Hey, so I want to mention one thing. So cumulative cash flow doesn't mean this plus this. It already includes that. So 5,140 is if you sold it in year 2.
That is
that's
the total.
The total amount, not in addition to this.
Yep, as is this. It's $17K in year 1. That's 17. You get an additional 14 that brings you to 31 in year 2. So these are your cumulative numbers. Does that make sense? We don't have 17 plus 31 plus 45.
You don't need to do any addition.
Nope, it's all here. Perfect. So here's the handout you have. This is your cheat sheet. This is the total profit that is available in each year. This is cash flow. This is equity. So your job tonight, as the partnership, as you go form it, is to say, hey, we want you to write down what your structure is going to look like. Here are 2 examples. One example, which I think I left in there, is you just say, yeah, we're all going to do a third, a third, and a third. That's crap. Don't do that tonight. I mean, it's not crap as a partnership, but it's just, if you like lollygag into it, it's no fun. So in this particular case, 33.33%, I'm assuming it sold in year 3. Where does this number come from? Yes, it is this number, right? Total profit available multiplied by 33.33%. So that is why this is $17,947. Another more complicated way to look at it is in example 2, the deal maker is getting a third of cash flow. So in this example, I use year 3, a third of 8240 is 2747. Really simple calculator math for you guys, right? No spreadsheet required. A phone calculator will do it. 8240 times a third, 2747. Everybody got a third in this case. Equity is different. We decided Dealmaker was getting 50 and everyone else was getting 25. How do we get 22,800? What's 50% of equity? Someone, anyone. This is not a rhetorical question. Yes, this number, because it's equity. Equity, 45,600 available, we're giving them half. 45,600 divided by 2, or times 0.5, right? That's as simple and as complicated as the math that you're going to have to do tonight. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, now is your chance. Because we tried to simplify this so that you could actually just write down, hey, I'm getting 33% of cash flow, and I would suggest looking at year 3, right? You can look at the other years too if you've got some other stuff going on, but look at year 1, look at year 3, and see how it pans out for each particular partner. Any questions on that? Yes?
Is this a one-off partnership? We're just trying to maximize individual gain, or is this a longer-term partnership we're trying to set up so it's fair for everyone?
I will leave that up to you.
Okay, fair enough.
Yep. So, you know, if you are, I would suggest that you act tonight as if you would act in the real world. If you screw people over tonight, probably your reputation in the real world sucks already. So we don't want that. So I would not choose to do that, right? This is not a game to play as a game. This is a game to play as you would in real life so that you can learn the exact situation you're going to go through, right? And I'm not saying anything about your reputation because I don't know your reputation. I'm sure it's fine. And you're in lots of partnerships, so people obviously want to partner with you. Chad.
So for the money partner, the down payment that they put down?
Yep.
Are we assuming that that's just not factored in here? They're getting that back?
So on your sheet, and they will get it back at the sale, and that's outside the profit. You have to pay the bank back. You have to pay the money partner back their original investment.
Okay.
But this is their original investment, $58,400.
Got it. Thanks.
Yep. All right. Here are the rules. This is like the most important slide, except for the next slide, which is even more important. This is the most important slide so far tonight. We're going to divide into 3 groups. Each will have one. What do you think the one is? There, one of each. Yeah, one of each. Dealmaker, loan partner, and money partner. Write on your name tag, which we've already done. This is an open market. If we say go, and you 3 come over here and talk, and you only talk to you 3, and you don't talk to other people, you're not doing yourself as good of a benefit as you could if you walk around and talk to different people. Don't just go to the people you know and partner. That is like probably the worst thing you could do tonight.
So you want us to make multiple partnerships?
No, I'm wanting you to talk to multiple people.
What was your question?
So you're wanting us to make multiple partnerships?
No, I'm wanting you to talk to multiple people and negotiate differently and then settle on something, right? It's an open market. Yeah. So this is a real deal. Negotiate it as if you were buying it. Don't mess around. Act like it's your real money. Act like it's your credit. Act like it's your reputation. He was leading me to this slide. That's very well done. Give him $10 or something, James. 100? So, yeah. So each group, I'm going to take you outside where hopefully it's like at least 10 degrees cooler than it is in here because it's really hot in here to me. Loan, money, and deal. I'll take you guys outside. You're going to get some private information. These are what I call game pieces, and they've got information on them that you have to negotiate with. They have minimums of what is acceptable for you to accept in the deal. Listen up. These are not the same. All of you will essentially have different pieces in each role. James.
So if they're different pieces, it is advantageous for you to wander from group to group, because one partner saying no all the time to you, maybe that they're negotiating hard, or maybe that you've already hit their minimum and you cannot make a deal with that particular partner.
Right.
So you might need to move to a different partner.
Yes. And the key about the minimums, and you will see it on the piece when I hand it to you, it is your minimum. It is not your first offer. It is not, hey, yeah, I need at least 10%. I'll take 10%. Okay. That is not how tonight should work. This is capitalized and bolded for a reason. Do not share this information with anyone. Everyone repeat that. Perfect. We're going to cover that. If you don't understand, ask me or James privately. Do not disclose this information. It happens every year. If you want to see Brian get pissed off, that's the way to do it. When you have your deal agreed upon...
I'm sorry, say that again.
I said Brian just tempted somebody to reveal the information.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, Brian has this really weird thing with fairness. He gets like overly worked up about things being fair.
True. So when you have a deal and you're all in agreement and you've written it down in here, what the percentages are getting or however you've structured your deal, sit down in your group, continue to talk about the partnership, talk about each other's roles, have a discussion about why you negotiated the way you did, but do not reveal your private information. We will discuss them after everyone is done. So here's the 3 most important rules in case you didn't catch them. Negotiate as if this were a real deal, right? The more you do this, the better you're going to learn. And the whole purpose of this class, right, is to help you learn in a safe environment where you can't possibly lose money, right? You want to take advantage of that. Real life, not nearly as kind. Number 2, do not disclose the private information given to you by Brian. Seriously. This includes saying things like, I can't do the deal unless I get ABC and XYZ, where ABC and XYZ are the things written on your piece of paper. I will find you. Treat this the same as if you were going to buy a house. James is selling a house. I'm the buyer. And I don't walk up to James and I'm not like, hey, you listed it at 320. The max I can pay is 360. Can you do 360?
I accept.
You would not do that. That's stupid. Don't do it tonight. Rule number 3, the information that I will give to you is private. Do not share it in any form, verbal, written with anyone else, for any reason, period.
Except for James and Brian.
Yes.
In private.
Basically, these are the same.
Hold on a second. A question? Do you have a question? One question. 1 second. Hold on.
Just saying the first rule of Fight Club. Don't talk about Fight Club.
Okay.
Yes. Do not talk about your personal information. I will answer any question you want in private about it and help you, as will James, but do not disclose it, please. All right. So that is the presentation. You guys all have that in your heads now. So with that, I need, who's going to be up first?
We're going to turn off the mics. So the people that listen to the recording at home, we're not recording the deal-making session. It's over. So thank you.
Do you
Enjoy
want me
yourself.
to... Last year we left my mic on while I talked.
But we had 2 mics going. It was really awkward. So we're going to stop that this year.
All right,
All right,
cool.
thank you.